hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. It is May the 6th, and let's be real. The Judgement Day for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta is here. Tomorrow, 8 p.m, PSG versus Arsenal, and the whole season is on the line. Since the league is done and dusted, we've been the FA Cup, we lost embarrassingly to Newcastle. Only thing that has left for Arsenal to hold on to is the Champions League. And yeah, it's interesting to say the least. So we definitely gonna talk about all that today. Champions League preview, PSG versus Arsenal. Before that, for the first 15 minutes or so, we're gonna have some transfer rumors, transfer news, but then afterwards we are getting into PSG versus Arsenal, and boy oh boy do we have lots to discuss in terms of that. So, as always, don't forget to smash the like button, like it, caress it, destroy it, annihilate it, however you look at it. Just do it, solely because it helps a lot. It costs nothing, and it is nice just to do so. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. Road to 500 subscribers is on the way. We are legitimately inches away, 13 subscribers away from hitting, obviously, the big 500. So, and of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat, because let's be real, we need to tackle them. I want to discuss them, and it is going to be quite fantastic. Anyways, so first things first, as I said, first 15 minutes or so, we're gonna get into transfer news. Big up Kwame. Hope you're doing well, my bro, today. First things first. Transfer news. Bukayo Saka has spoken. Bukayo Saka has said, I believe we can win the Champions League. We can beat any team in the world, home and away. We have proven that before, and we can do it once again. So Bukayo Saka is expecting that. So he better step up, he better perform, and he better carry us over the line. Because let's be real, Odegaard is not going to do it. So hey, we swiftly move on in terms of that as well. Tomorrow is a must win. Yeah, that is it. No excuses, no nothing. Must win, and that's it. Exactly. Prove it tomorrow night. Actions speak louder than words, and let's be real. So far, the words have been hella loud. The actions, to many extents, have not. Yeah, big up Marlon, big up, and everyone is praying on our downfall. Let's be real. Besides Arsenal fans, everyone's praying for our downfall. Let's be real. I'm not praying for our downfall as well. I honestly know that there is a chance we can beat PSG. Whether it's gonna happen or not remains to be seen. I obviously give Arsenal about 30% chance, which may seem too high. At the same time, I'm giving Arsenal the benefit of the doubt in general. Let's be real. I'm giving 30% chance that we can get through and pass PSG. For the sole reason, we need to score only one goal to even get it to extra time. Obviously, if PSG score first, then the percentages drop about 5% to 95 in terms of PSG going through. So, what else we have on today? Nicolas Pepe, remember the guy? I still believe he would have done fantastically well at Arsenal if we actually used him quite properly. And I solely also quite strongly believe that if it was the season when he was at Arsenal, the way we played in 22-23 season, the attacking, beautiful football we used to play, he would have been cooking like no tomorrow. Unfortunately, we terminated his contract. He went to Besiktas, I want to say, if my memory doesn't deceive me. Then he went to Villarreal. He's having quite nice season, let's be real there. And now he has caught the eye of Everton and Wolves. Obviously, he becomes a free agent this summer. Whether he's going to extend the contract with Villarreal remains to be seen, of course. But obviously, Wolves and Everton are interested. And I'm not going to lie, if he goes to Wolves, it actually could be quite nice to him. Because the way Wolves are playing, they definitely need quite a good counter-attacking with pace, quickly attacking with some skills, right winger. And I think Nicolas Pepe fits that to a T. Next one. Regardless of the results, as Arsenal face Liverpool and Newcastle, the Gunners are guaranteed Champions League football next season. If, and there is the if they beat Southampton on the final day. It's a big if, isn't it? Because against Liverpool at Anfield, we haven't won in 13 years, which already is going to be a tough task. Arsenal will have to give guard of honor to them. And obviously Liverpool will put out their best 11 and they will try the best to annihilate us to make a statement. Newcastle, well, we have played Newcastle 3 times this season, home and away. We have lost all 3 games and we haven't scored a goal against them, so that is not going in our favor. And on top of that, Southampton. There is the big if. If Arsenal beats Southampton, we have guaranteed us a Champions League place in football, right, for next season. The thing is though, Southampton for Arsenal is a bogey team. Let's be real. Let's be real. Remember when the season we finished 5th? Or, no, yeah. We drew 3-3 against them. And we balled 4th. We lost to them as well. Let's not forget that. And of course, who can forget the big pamming in, I think it was 2016, when we lost 4-0 at St. Mary's. Southampton is a bogey team, and that is the big ifs for Arsenal fans to hold on to in general. Some other news. Arsenal have won each of their last 4 away games in Champions League. The Gunners have never won 5 in a row on the road across all European competitions before. Apparently, it is time to set a new record. However, it doesn't mention anything that we haven't scored a goal in 5 semi-final games in a row in all the competitions. And on top of that, it doesn't mention the fact that we have scored only 1 goal in the last 7 competitions where we have been in semi-final. That includes Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and all these places. We all know the jazz, right? So that already is absolutely insane what top Gunners are holding on. So basically at this stage for them it's mostly hopium and copium. Anyways, some big stuff. Jamie Gittins, we all know the guy. Arsenal have been linked with him before. And here it is. Reported Arsenal target Jamie Gittins is represented by Elite Project Group, who also represents Bukayo Saka, which is not bad, Edin Nketiah, Alex Iwobi, and Chido Obi Martin. The agency are notoriously difficult to deal with and have created big issues with Nketiah and Obi in the past. Very big issues. They squeezed out of Arsenal 100 grand a week for Edin Nketiah instead of assigning Alexander Isak. Let's not forget that. They made us pay 100 grand a week for Nketiah instead of actually giving Balogun a chance, because that was the season when we sold him. And to add on top of that, Chidobe Martin just saw how we waste striker potentials and just pissed off. Now he plays for United and gets 30 grand a week. So it's more Arsenal than actually the agency. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, that was under Edu. That's a completely different story. I think, and I know it's a big thing to hold on to, Berta can turn screws on them. 100%. I'm not gonna lie. Rivals want us to fail against PSG, but fans are on side. Yeah, true, but still have a lot of haters, especially expressions. That's a different level. Spurs fan, what do you expect? Arteta should drop Odegaard for tomorrow night. But Arteta doesn't have the balls to do so, so it is what it is. Bro got a goal and 2 assists. Yeah, Nicolas Pepe got 2 goals, a goal and 2 assists in the last game in a 4-2 win against Osasuna. Heard we are linked with Gittins and Rodrigo. Yeah, we are still linked with Rodrigo, about £85 million the price, and we are linked still with Gittins. Yeah, we lost to Southampton, yeah, to some embarrassing fashions at times. There are no excuses tomorrow night, and the saying Robo, it's the do or die. Basically, it's the judgment day for tomorrow, because if we fly out of Champions League tomorrow, Arteta should be sacked in Paris, in the dressing rooms, on the spot. If it's 2-0 PSG by halftime by some weird chance, sack him at the halftime. I'm not gonna lie. Big up, Hendon. Big up. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Where is it? Top Gunners now. Barca Inter today, man. Yeah, we can actually take a quick gander how the game is going. It's been live for 13 minutes. Still 0-0. Still 0-0 in the game. So that is still going in very interesting fashion as well. Barcelona making the move so far against Inter. Yamal looking sharp. Dude, locking off Yamal is nearly impossible. And one of the biggest reasons why as weird as it sounds, I would prefer Inter Milan to Barcelona is because of Yamal single-handedly. Because Yamal is gonna get chances, and on that left side against Skelly and everything, it could be quite Peakums. In the summer, Berta should make signings, not Arteta. He should. The question is, will he? With Berta signing, has the power a bit been taken away from Mikel Arteta with 15 million a year contract? Because there have been reports that with the 15 million a year, Arteta got new duties, new stuff he has to do, and Edu apparently left partially because Arteta got too much of his hands in Edu's cookie jar, too many of Edu's tasks. And I think Berta wouldn't have signed to be an Arsenal sporting director if there were not some guarantees that Mikel Arteta stays out of his way, 100%. Because otherwise, such a high-profile sporting director, no chance in hell we would have gotten him, in my opinion. Why are we buying Baena, bro? He's better than Odegaard. Yeah, Baena can play left wing. He's more of a 10. He's like something like Santi Cazorla type of player. Absolutely love Santi Cazorla. He scored, by the way, on the weekend as well for the Real Oviedo. That's a fun fact. But yeah, I would love to Arsenal to sign Baena. Berta should sign Zubimendi, Eze, and Semenyo. Interesting. You prefer Semenyo over Odegaard, fucking hell. Semenyo over Rodrigo. O'Reilly. Yeah, in Arsenal's fan base, there is very mix and match, very mixed opinions, specifically on Zubimendi. Because I am very on the fence about Zubimendi. As far as he is good in passing, he can dictate the play, he would help us partially with the creative part from the deep end. He is a bit quicker, obviously, and all that stuff. He is a bit more two-footed and everything. On the other hand, he is not Thomas Partey in terms of strength, and as press-resistant he is, Zubimendi, right? I think Thomas Partey is more press-resistant than Zubimendi, actually. That's at least how I see Zubimendi. I think he would fit into Arsenal's midfield very nicely in. But obviously with the talks potentially that Arteta wants 2 number 6s that he can mix and match, depending on opposition, where with one he can get more control, more passing, more unlock deep end potential, right? Compared to one more physical, because our midfield in general gets overrun as it is in many games against more physical teams, obviously Newcastle, Aston Villa being prime examples. I'm very worried that if we sign Zubimendi and he is the only midfielder we sign for that Partey replacement, if Partey leaves, right? Our midfield is gonna get weaker. And that for me spells a lot of trouble for the next season, personally at least. Zubimendi is an excellent central midfielder. Yeah, he is very, very good. I'm not taking any credit away. For me, the issue is the strength and the adaptability. In double pivot, Zubimendi would be quite nice with Declan Rice, I think, right? But as a lone 6, as Rice pushes up forward and the Partey tends to stay back a bit more at times and he's more of that disruptor, Zubimendi for me seems a bit too weak and not ready enough to fill those type of roles. That's just my opinion, at least. Big up Terrence. I wanted, by the way, I'm gonna say this, I don't know for how long, I wanted Fabian Ruiz over Merino. Unfortunately, we didn't get him. Just saying. Anyways, Bino Gittens, it is what it is. Moving on. Some good news. Italian Stallion. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, Calafiore is back in training. Our season is saved. He's gonna do well against PSG. Maybe. Pray for PSG, as Son of Odin is saying. Pray for PSG and all this stuff. But yeah, Calafiore is back. Also, Timber is back. Timber as well was in full first team training ahead of the huge semi-final against PSG. He was also pictured in training. He was training with the squad, which is actually some very nice news because I was very worried that we will have to go with Ben White at right back against Kvaratskhelia, right? And that definitely doesn't spell good things for me per se. The thing is though, another good news. Both Timber and Calafiori have traveled to Paris with the squad, by the way, which means there are some good news potentially in that regard. On top of that, transfer news from Polymarket, from Alex Crook. Believe it or not, Arsenal are showing new interest in signing Mohamed Kudus from West Ham. Now, I'm hella confused about this, because we didn't want to sign him when he was worth for 40 something million, yet now we are willing to pay 85 million release clauses apparently he has to leave West Ham. Somehow this doesn't spell good business to me. Unless we can sign him for more or less the same amount as we could have gotten him during last summer, I don't want him. Genuinely, I don't want him. That for me is the big thing. As good as he is, as good as he helps, it's a big issue. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. Apparently Arsenal have made significant Victor Gyökeres progress as fresh talks have been scheduled. Not sure what this is all about, but we move. Recent reports apparently, can you see this? You can. Fantastic. Have indicated that new discussions have taken place with Gyökeres' representatives, but we have been informed that no fresh meetings have occurred. In fact, sources close to the situation say that all parties are already aligned on the proposed contract page, which sounds actually quite nice, which sounds very good for Arsenal, of course. Also, Gyökeres is yet to be directly involved with talks with Arsenal. That's something weird. With the Gunners, instead of negotiating with his representatives up to this point. So we are only talking with Gyökeres' camp, yet we are not talking with Gyökeres himself. Interesting, isn't it? And of course, Gyökeres is on fire. Arsenal have multiple targets. Will he join? That is the big question. Will Gyökeres join Arsenal? That is the big question of the day. Anyways, moving on. My lineup. So this is Kwame's lineup for tomorrow. Raya, Timba, Saliba, Gabriel. Next season, sorry. Gabriel, Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Saka, Semenyo, Eze. I'm sorry. Who is your striker in this formation? Kwame. Who is your striker? Semenyo, Eze, Saka? Like, this somehow doesn't spell good things for me. We don't have a striker here. Semenyo as a striker. That is actually kind of nuts if you ask me. 1-0 Inter Milan. 1-0 Inter Milan. Apparently Lautaro Martinez has scored a goal. Yes, Lautaro Martinez has made it 1-0 to the Italians. So 1-0 up. Let's see how this develops. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see how that develops. Jurgen Timber still have faith in him, but tomorrow night must be on his game. Yeah, he cannot again be getting cooked first 20 minutes. He cannot have that once again, especially there. As I better than most of our... Wait, I don't know what's going on here. Another drama in the chat. Come on, guys, chill. We don't need this before Champions League. Come on, man. Terence, calm down. I would out Saka up top. Semenyo though. Would put Saka up top. I don't think that's gonna work. Nah, Lautaro Martinez is back from injury. Lautaro Martinez is back from injury, so that in that sense, just caught you almost. You almost big up social, big up social, big up my guy. Anyways, don't worry, guys. Arsenal have released new merch. Anyone getting some of this? Crafted with cues from our 01-02 season, the new Heritage Collection has just dropped. Bang, 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 bang. Arsenal have dropped Heritage merch, and it is for the season. So I'm very sorry, I need to do something. Really pisses me off at the moment. Give me a second, I need to sort this out because it's starting to get on my nerves. Here we go. Here we bloody go. Who is getting the match? That is the big question. Man, nobody gives a F about it. Only the tracksuits, training gear are good. Most of the merch are straight trash. You say so? Let's check. Can you see this? You can see this, which is very, very nice. Yeah, shipping to my country. Nobody cares. So, what we saying? Gunners blue Reglan t-shirt. £55. Oh my goodness. Arsenal white retro shirt. £55. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a curtain in an elderly home. Or is it just me? It looks like an elderly curtain in an elderly home. Like the ones you hang on the wall to close the drapes and all that stuff. Or is it just me? Just asking. This long sleeve one looks kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie. This long sleeve one looks kind of nice. Don't like this one. I'm not sure why, but this looks hella sus. Arsenal backpack. £35. Who's getting that one? Who's going to school still? Who's getting that one? £35. Retro scarf. That scarf, is it just me or it looks hella huge for a scarf? Hella wide. But hey, Arsenal do their thing, it is what it is. So anyways, back to the point at hand. Anyone getting the match? Big up Luca, big up, I'm good. Hopefully you're doing well as well today, my bro. Anyways. So Arsenal are expected to give guard of honor. We're gonna save that for Liverpool game. Anyways, nothing new to say. Arsenal are just all over the place. Genuinely all over the place. Now, the big thing of the day. Mikel Arteta's press conference. Who is ready for some waffle settings and Codeman music on the charts? Who is ready for that? Who has gotten their syrup for the waffle and everything? Who is ready? Who is ready for this? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna say this once, and I'm gonna say this only once. Marlon, calm down. That's it. That's it. Calm down. Anyways, on the belief to turn it around. Well, this ought to be a good one, innit? Huge enthusiasm, huge energy. We are a win away from being the Champions League semi-final in one of the most. We are a win away from being the Champions League semi-final. You realize that if you win, you get to the final. Or am I missing something here? Like, what? We are a win away from being the Champions League semi-final. Anyone proofreads this when they do these things or what? We are a win away from being the Champions League semi-final. What the hell? When the most beautiful cities in the world against a great opponent, it doesn't get much better than that. Okay. We are here to make history and we have a big opportunity tomorrow. We bring a result that gives us so much clarity about what we have to do. A lot of learning from the first leg as well, and how small the margins, again, the margins, guys, are between the two teams. The result, in my opinion, should have been very different to that one. So tomorrow, another opportunity to prove and earn the right to be in the final. Anyways, and if it's the biggest game as an Arsenal manager, well, that's without shadow of a doubt. To be honest, yeah, it is. To be honest, it is. I would say FA Cup final was a close second. Beautiful, for sure. I mean, again, one win away from being in the final. Now, here he gets it correctly. We cannot ask for anything else. Let's not do the talking now. Let's do it tomorrow on the pitch at 9 p.m. when the game starts. 9 p.m. Paris time. So Mikel Arteta is actually going with some chest. I admit it's pigeon chest. It's genuinely pigeon chest, but let's do the talking on the pitch at 9 p.m. when the game starts. I'm not gonna lie, to certain level, respect. I'm not gonna lie, that is something I want to hear from the manager. Enough with the excuses and injuries, red cards, referees, and all this crap. Enough about the PR, enough about we gonna win this, we want to win trophies. Actions speak louder than words. And he is actually saying, let's do the talking on that pitch at 9 p.m. when the game starts tomorrow. Respect to some extent. Respect. Show our best version and win the game. That's actually decent. On what is going to take it to turn it around? Again, 100% he mentions margins or some crap like that. Again, a lot of the things that we did in the first game bear more consistently. If we do that, the probability for success will be very, very close to us. We are more than capable. We've done it in Europa against a lot of odds. Probably nobody would say that we've been in this position. So that was against history as well. So let's make our own. Okay. On how he can spoil Luis Enrique's birthday. Okay. Well, being better than them, we are gonna have to show that tomorrow. We know what we can do. We showed in the first leg as well in many moments, apart from the first 15 minutes. To be honest, first 15-20 minutes was a nightmare, I'm not gonna lie. When we had some difficulties in understanding why. And tomorrow, as I said, full clarity, what we have to do, how we have to do it, and how much we have to embrace and enjoy this moment to get the best out of ourselves. Okay. On if he feels that the players belong at this level. 100%. I think that's how you have to embrace and take the game. You know, to make something special. As we said, to win the final of the Champions League, you have to do something exceptional throughout the tournament. We've done a lot of great things, but tomorrow in Paris against the team is the moment to do it. And we will elevate the level of this team and start to make history. See? Some more chest. I like this. I actually respect that he's coming with the chest. We're gonna do the talking tomorrow on the pitch. We will elevate the level and we will make our own history. I kind of like it. As long as he makes the history in positive direction, not in a negative one, of course. That's an opportunity we've had us to do it. That's actually quite respectable so far to some extent. Bro probably thinks passing. So it is what it is. See, I'm not getting into that. On if he'd prefer the game to be more calm or chaotic. I think we'll be in different moments, like you had the first. Like obviously the result brings a lot of clarity. What both teams have to do for us is even clearer. So that's it. And there are players on that team that have experienced that in many situations. So I was looking for the amount of time that they played ties on, how many times they have tried, you know. So we are here. This is our opportunity, and we are going to make it happen. Though he's speaking lots of promises here. I just genuinely hope he doesn't sell himself short and doesn't sell us short, because he's gonna do the talking on the pitch. We're gonna make our own history, we're gonna elevate our levels, and we are going to make it happen. Not gonna lie, I kinda like this level of Mikel Arteta. This talk from Mikel Arteta. At the same time, the track record from history in these situations, it's not something I'm too excited about. I'm not gonna lie. On how our Champions League away form can spur us on. I'm in conviction that when we had to do it, we did it in a really convincing way against very difficult opponents. Well, you didn't do it against Manchester United in the FA Cup. You didn't do it twice against Newcastle this year in Carabao Cup. So, what are we saying here? This again now is kind of contradicting himself. So again, the last one is very recent. It's Madrid against all the odds, because obviously they were talking about all the comebacks and the history and the remontada and all that jazz. And we proved something very different to what they expected, and tomorrow we want to do the same. Respect. Okay, still 1-0. On if we can erase the memories of our Champions League finals lost in Paris in 2006. Dude, I don't want to remember that. Yeah, it will give us an opportunity and it brings them to places that they are so related sometimes. The beautiful story, so let's make it our own tomorrow. On Jurrien Timber's fitness, so here we go, some good questions. I will assess him today whether he can start the game or not, so he doesn't know if he's gonna start or not. He has traveled to Paris with the squad. Will he start? That is the biggest question of the day still. On Calafiori being back, yeah, he's traveled and he's fit and he's ready to play when we need him, so that's great news, obviously. Well, good for him. Good for the team. Bro made Newcastle look like prime Barca, dude. That was embarrassing. At home and away, by the way. Especially at home. On the message about the players becoming heroes. Oh, bloody. I can be your hero, baby. And all this. Enrique Iglesias settings, you know. It has to be. In football, you're going to be remembered for those moments. The biggest stages are when the team needs it. When the club needs it, to deliver those moments and playing with that mindset. This kind of game, in my opinion, the right one, and that's the work that we've done in the last few hours. You know? And got mocked about ball and you're telling bro nothing after that. Well, we'll see tomorrow. We definitely will see that tomorrow because he's showing quite a bit of chest in this interview so far. And if he doesn't deliver tomorrow, it is Judgment Day. As the title of the stream says, it's the Judgment Day for Arsenal, for Arteta, and for Arsenal season. Because our whole season is riding currently on this one game for now. On the referee. Who cares? Who cares about the referee though? Who genuinely cares about the referee? That for me is the biggest question. Yeah, we always get report, obviously, understanding who's going to be and how he likes to manage the game, to try to understand him and to try to help him with that sense and make sure that the players are very much aware of that. That work is done. Well, good for you. And if he can bring anything from his playing days at PSG to prepare the players. Oh, here we go. Some waffle about to happen. A beautiful atmosphere. I mean, there's a massive club with a huge history. Huge history, you know. Wait, huge history. They have won a lot of League Ones. They have won lots of French Cups. And the club was established, if my memory doesn't deceive me, in 1970. So the club is 55 years old. I'm not taking away their French Cup wins, League 1 wins and all this stuff. But yeah, one city. One team, basically. One team, they have Paris FC. Paris FC got promoted this season into Ligue 1. There's gonna be nuts. And Paris FC's stadium, by the way, legitimately is, if you are in Paris, in PSG stadium, legitimately 30 seconds away. And yeah, I was very lucky to have 18 months here where I really enjoyed it and I have fascinating memories about it. And it's great to be back here. He played with Ronaldinho, man. That's what's the nuts part in this. On motivation to win the Champions League. Well, I think it's within us. As you said, we don't need anything else. Now we need to use it to channel that energy, the emotion, that weakness that we all have inside ourselves to deliver and perform at the best possible level, at the highest level that each of us has tomorrow to deliver the best result to be in the final. On Jakub Kivior's progress, well, this is for Marlon specifically question. This is for Marlon specific question. Well, again, he deserves a lot of credit because he hasn't played too much throughout many months, and suddenly he's been thrown into the most difficult context. Well, he's been thrown into the deep ends, I'm not gonna lie. And he has actually fared quite well, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is, I'm still having that PTSD that he's gonna mock it up somehow, and I just cannot shake that feeling, still. At the highest level, playing against the best opponents when you haven't had this physical rhythm or the confidence to do it. And I think he's been exceptional. And let's be real. Kivior has been very, very decent. I'm not gonna lie. Kivior actually has been very, very, very decent stepping in instead of Gabriel. Obviously, we miss Gabriel. At the same time, nobody expected Kivior to step in to such a high level in a way that we are not in a desperate situation that Gabriel is not playing. Let's just put it that way. At the same time, as I said, I still cannot shake the goddamn feeling that Kivior can mock it up at any given chance. That for me is the biggest issue. As good as Kivior has done, I'm not discrediting what Kivior has done. At the same time, I just cannot shake that feeling still. Might be PTSD from the time he was lacing his boots as the opponent was scoring, or he gets lobbed, or all this stuff. I don't know. Mikel will finally get some common sense and learn how to call it. We'll see. Robo, I know this is off topic, but Leva or Prime Suarez? Luis Suarez. I'm taking Luis Suarez. Bro played with Galdinho and don't know how to play with Flair. That's the biggest thing about him. Mikel Arteta has played with Ronaldinho, for example. He's been coached by Arsene Wenger, by Pep Guardiola. He has seen some of the best talents in the world football you can imagine. Yet at the same time, he doesn't play with flair almost whatsoever anymore. It's very confusing, let's be real. It's genuinely very, very confusing. Big Kiwi, man, my boy Silence down. To massive extent, I'm not gonna lie. Big Gubby won't mess up nothing, man. Have faith and believe. Polish wall, man. Don't sell him, don't put him on such a pedestal, because if he screws it up tomorrow, it's Beacons. Tomorrow is the most important game, arguably, in pretty much all of our players' careers. To many extents, let's be real. If you look at the players that we have in our team, you could argue Marino's Euros final, okay. You can look at who else is there. Just going through positions. Gabriel, Saliba, Timba, who else is there? Partey, Odegaard, technically Rice as well, the finals and everything. Saka, the finals and everything, and all this stuff. You could say that this is the biggest game pretty much our whole team of players have had in their careers. To many, many, many extents. Many, many, many extents. And let's not forget, Donnarumma is the goalkeeper who saved Saka's penalty in Euros as well. Let's not forget that. World Cup, sorry. I think it was World Cup as well. So it is a bit iffy. One thing I don't want to happen with PSG is that go to penalties, because against Donnarumma, that is gonna be genuinely pain and a half. I'm not gonna lie. But overall, I'm not gonna lie. As much as it's a massive pain to see how Arsenal have played in Premier League, especially in the last... We have had one win since April. That is massive, massive, massive letdown. But overall, it's very painful to watch how Arsenal have fallen in the league and expect a lot in Champions League. It's very, very contradicting at the same time. We have done very good in Champions League, no argument about that. But tomorrow it's basically must win without any cost, by any means necessary. And that is a big thing that our team hasn't done. And it has been weaving through Arsenal and Arsenal's DNA for countless years. When it matters the most, we haven't gotten the job done. And that for me is the biggest worry. The higher pressure on the game, the bigger chance that we're going to screw it up somehow. That basically is the biggest worry for me. Currently, yes, many people have written us off. I am as well. I'm not going to say I'm not that depressing in this regard, that Arsenal are definitely not going to go through. There is a chance, let's be real. Currently, for me personally, it is about 30 against 70 that Arsenal are going to go through. We are definitely not the favorites at the moment. And I think everything depends who scores the first goal. Because if it's Arsenal, it's game on, without shadow of a doubt. However, if it is PSG, that 30-70 for me drops to like 5 against 95. Because we need to score 2 goals at least to basically get to at least get the extra time minimum. And looking at how PSG absolutely annihilated Liverpool in Paris and how they treated Aston Villa in Paris, despite the fact that Aston Villa scored first, there are massive, massive worries in that regard. Their midfield is on fire. Their defense is very good. Their attack is fantastic. Yes, they don't have a designated striker up top as well. And that, I think, is one of the biggest drawbacks. Why? Arguably, PSG have some issues. At the same time, they're doing very well without a designated striker up top. But yeah, they rested their whole 11 besides João Neves pretty much during the weekend. They lost 2-1 to Strasbourg. But at the end of the day, for them it means nothing because the league is done. So, meantime, Arsenal played their whole 11, pretty much their best 11 besides Timber and Merino, and still managed to lose to Bournemouth at home. Let's be real, that's embarrassing. It is what it is. Joke thing and all that stuff. But yeah, tomorrow everything is on the line. The way I see it, everything is on the line. In my opinion, on the line, there is Arsenal's season, some of the players' futures. I would arguably also put Arteta's job there, 100%. And I would also say our fan base is on the line. And what I mean by that is that obviously there are massive support group for Arteta who are Arteta-ins. There's also a small portion of Arsenal fan base that are Arteta-outs, right? But there is also a very distinct and very visible portion of Arsenal fans who are on the fence, who are nor Arteta in nor Arteta out until the end of this season. And that even that part splits into two halves for if giving him one more season or not, obviously. But I think if tomorrow goes south, it will be very, very rough in that regard. Fan base will get even more split. And for me, that is one of the biggest worries. Because Mikel Arteta has done some good things at Arsenal. There is no argument about that. There is no denying about that, right? And I'm going to say some positive stuff about Mikel Arteta, and 100% these things nobody's going to listen to and only going to comment on negative things I say. 100% I'm telling you that right now. But ultimately, he has done some good things. Obviously, ripping up a trophy-winning squad, it's embarrassing. It is what it is. He got rid of some players that actually were key aspects of him winning the trophy, which is, again, quite embarrassing. He has spent $750 million pretty much, which is yikes, without winning anything specifically. 5.5 years in the job, 8th, 5th, 2nd, and we still don't know where we're gonna finish this season. But you cannot deny the fact that despite everything, he has done some good things. And one of the biggest things what he has done, at least in the early stages, definitely, is unify the fan base and let them believe once again. Because there was a time when basically, I can speak only for myself obviously, but I as an Arsenal fan went into the season with the mindset that, well, especially under Wenger, right? It's gonna be top four, and knowing that Wenger does good in cups, we could nick an FA Cup here or there. In Champions League, we don't have a pedigree. We probably gonna, at some point, we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot and we're gonna fly out of the tournament. And that was pretty much experienced for the longest time. One thing Mikel Arteta has done is unified the fan base and gotten us to a certain point where, at least myself included as well, right? I started to believe that we actually can do it. Because especially that season when we were 8 points clear, and I thought we actually gonna do this season. Last season, it was embarrassing, let's be real. We went 1-7 in December, we lost to 10-man Fulham, we drew to 10-man Fulham and everything at home and all this stuff. It was embarrassing. But we were still up there, and we went on a massive winning streak towards the end part of the season. And obviously Mikel Arteta screwed it up by playing... it's 2-0 Inter Milan. 2-0 Inter Milan. Kalhanoglu scored a penalty and Lautaro Martinez scored the first goal. 2-0. It is 2-0. 2-0. Big up no one, by the way. Big up no one. Where was I? And now it's basically come to a point where it's everything on the line. Because many people look only in terms of 1-2 seasons. I am looking at the overall picture. And for me personally, the football we played 3 seasons ago, 22-23 season, was the way we should have kept playing, with minor adjustments defensively. That's what basically Slot did with Klopp's Liverpool. Let's just put it that way. And he didn't do it. He completely switched it other way around. He went to other side of the spectrum, total control and defense. And until basically water was up to here and pouring in his mouth, he didn't release the shackles, and we didn't start playing like we did in 22-23 season, winning teams 5-0, 6-0, 5-1 and 4-1 and all this stuff. Obviously he had to ruin it up by losing to Aston Villa, but we didn't lose the league there. We lost in the first part of the season. You can sing as loud as you want that we lost the league because of Aston Villa game. We didn't. We lost the league in the first part of the season when we went 1-7 in December, where we lost to West Ham, when was it? We drew to Everton, where we drew to 10-man Fulham, where we lost to Fulham, and all this stuff. We lost the season there. But at the end of the day, currently, personally, I am at the stage with Mikel Arteta where challenging is not enough, where being close but no cigar is not enough. He needs to win. And 5 seasons is more than enough to win something at the end of the day. And if we crash out of Champions League tomorrow, more than ever, his time is done for me. Right? I'm gonna say it as it is. More than enough. Because big up Aaron Talks Arsenal. If you haven't, go subscribe to him, right? He made a graphic out there. How long does it take for new managers to win the Premier League of the ones who have done it? And the average of the managers were 2.3 or 2.4 years. Right? And Mikel Arteta has been at Arsenal more than double that. Right? And for me, the time is done. Tomorrow is the Judgement Day. For Arsenal, for the season, for Mikel Arteta. If he doesn't get it over the line, he has to go. No matter what, he has to go. Because personally, for next season, and if we have the money, let's just say 200 million, I much rather give those 200 million to new manager with fresh ideas and a different vision than Mikel Arteta. Because I'm starting to believe that players are sick and tired of these light bulbs, pickpockets, squeezing lemons, win the dog and all this crap. And they are tired of listening of the same stuff over and over and over again. They need some new blood into the team. There is a very famous poem in my country where I live, obviously, and it's called "Fish Rots from the Head." It's about life. It's about thoughts, how you do that. Everything starts with mind and all this stuff and all that jazz. You get what I mean, right? A bit of a psychological type of poem, right? But you can interpret it to life. And in terms of Arsenal, fish rots from the head, in my opinion. Obviously, it starts with Cronkies, right? But so far, it's not going to happen. So the next thing is Mikel Arteta. And Mikel Arteta is the guy who ruined Golden Boot winning Aubameyang, making him play left wing back. He ruined Lacazette. Those two guys were on fire. Martinelli almost never has seen the light playing as a number 9. He has ruined the team that worked, that won him the trophy. He has binned totally Kieran Tierney, still the best left back in the team. And he has spent 750 million. He has spent about 250 million trying to replace Granit Xhaka, and he still hasn't fully replaced him. He still makes the same mistakes he made 5 years ago. He makes the same type of subs, player per player. He still has no ideas. There is no plan B, plan C, plan D if his plan A doesn't work. Many times there are questions, what even is the plan A? Let's be real, what even is the plan A? All his tactics, light bulbs, ideas have dried up on the pitch and off the pitch. Set pieces don't work anymore to the same extent. We've been found out. And now we are conceding set pieces at an alarming rate. Worst percentage in the league, 48%. How comes we can paint a mural of Nicholas Jower, the set piece coach, for scoring all the goals, when this season specifically, defensive part of those set pieces, by the looks of things, have been totally neglected and be totally sussed out. It looks like Mikel Arteta's ideas also have been sussed out in terms of playing out from the back and during the games. In 3 years, he hasn't figured out how to beat a low block, which is quite insane. He still hasn't found a proper number 8 in terms on what I mean by that, by the way. Don't get me on Rice train or anything. What I mean by that is creative number 8. Because Rice is all good, I don't mind Rice. The price tag, it is what it is, that's what club paid for him. But we need creative number 8 as well. We are lacking creative part from the midfield. He still hasn't found a Saliba replacement, an actual replacement. I'm not talking about Timber or White who can slot in there. An actual replacement. You could argue that if Saliba doesn't get injured in 22-23 season, we win the league. You could definitely make that argument. And how he hasn't learned from that mistake and still hasn't bought a replacement for Saliba. Hence he's being overplayed at the same time. He hasn't refreshed the attack whatsoever. He binned off Aubameyang 3.5 years ago, and we're still waiting for a proper number 9. We have had the same attack for 2.5 years now, which again proves that the attack is stale and it is out of ideas. Because you need new attackers, different styles, different approaches, different tactics, and different visions how they play, different dribblings, and different all this stuff, or different vision from the player himself. And as I said, for me, Mikel Arteta's time is done. As much as he has done good in many ways, unfortunately, he has done quite a bit worse as well. And currently it is at a stage where he can undo all the things he has done. One of the biggest things he takes pride upon is unifying the fan base, right? Everyone's fine and dandy, happy chappy, everyone believes 8-point lead, we can win the league and all this stuff and everything we believe. And we are coming to a point where by staying here longer than he has to, and wasting all these opportunities, because if he doesn't win Champions League, he will have wasted 19 obtainable trophies in his tenure at Arsenal since he's been here since winning the FA Cup. 19! He's gonna ruin even that, which he takes a lot of pride of building upon. And that for me is a massive, massive problem for him. And it's actually kind of insane that it has to come to this point to some extent. But as I said, 5 years, 750 million, way too long of a time, way too much money spent to basically have nothing to show for it. Because if we sign the players we are linked with this summer, your Gyökereses and then we sign a winger, whoever that is, a midfielder, maybe 2 midfielders and all this stuff. Let's face it, he will have spent 1 billion. And even then, I already am seeing top gooners finding excuses that what if he doesn't win next season? I'm already seeing excuses. I'm already seeing, well, if he doesn't win next season, then I might start questioning him. And that is one of the biggest things that's wrong with Arsenal. The fan base. Because they don't call out. They don't call out the stuff that is going wrong. And for me, that is a big worry. Because when I do something wrong at work, I instantly get called out because that affects everything. When something goes wrong at home, if it's my screw up, you bet your ass that I'm gonna get heard from my missus or someone else. Because there has to be accountability for your actions or your lack of your actions in other cases, for things you do, for things you haven't done, for things you have to do and the things you say and how you say it. There has to be accountability at the end of the day. But unfortunately at this club, it looks like there is none of that. And that for me is a big worry. Hence why tomorrow it is Judgment Day for Arsenal, for this process that already needs a rebuild, which basically means that process has failed miserably, to Mikel Arteta, and to some extent a part of Arsenal's fan base, as I said about 15 minutes ago. Because the people who are on the fence of Mikel Arteta in or Mikel Arteta out, tomorrow they will make their decision potentially. And it also depends upon, if we lose, how we lose. Because if we lose, let's just say it's 0-0, we did our best, we hit 4 posts or something like that, we had chances, we just didn't convert them, to some extent that's one thing. But if we go there and we lose 3-4 nothing, it's the end of days. It's genuinely the end of days for me. So anyways, big up no one, big up again. Do you think maybe Arsenal win? I am currently giving Arsenal 30 versus 70 chance of winning. Basically 30%. If PSG score first, I'm giving Arsenal 5%. And that is to get to extra time, not actually win. Because if they score 1, we need to score 3. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. Big up Gunner81, all facts. Thank you, my guy. Big up. Yeah, PSG has won nothing. That's the biggest issue here. Big up Ali, saying PSG are gonna score 5. Oh, bloody hell if that happens. Big up Pepper, big up my guy. Hope you're doing well. We need to play the perfect game, essentially. And unfortunately, I don't believe we have it in us. Because throughout the whole season, even in the simplest of situations, we have made some dumb mistakes. And unfortunately, it is in Arsenal's DNA to somehow shoot themselves in the foot. Screw it up, basically. And that, for me, is the biggest PTSD you can ever have as an Arsenal fan. Not to mention the fact that we haven't scored a goal in 6 semi-final games in a row, which is even bigger worry, especially given our attacking situation currently happening at the club. Anyhow, starting 11. Let's do this now. Starting 11 for the Arsenal. Starting 11. It kind of picks itself, but we're gonna roll with it. Starting 11. We need to defend like last season and attack like it's 2023. Basically, that's what we need to do. We need to play the perfect game defensively. Best defense in the league like we had last year. And we need to attack like we did in 22-23 season. Waves of attack with constant danger. And at the same time, we cannot forget about defense. Because let's be real, the attack that PSG possesses compared to Arsenal's, it's a very scary situation. Anyways, starting 11. It kind of picks itself, but we're gonna roll with it anyways. I am assuming that Jurrien Timber is fit, so I'm gonna play Jurrien Timber. Anyways, Saliba, Kivior, because there's nobody else. And of course, Miles Lewis Skelly. Partey goes in the midfield, which is a big thing. This is one of the biggest things that top Gunners are holding out to. Because in the game in England, in Emirates, Partey wasn't playing, Rice was in the 6, Merino was in the 8, and Trossard was in the 9. And this is one of the biggest things they are holding on to. And for me, the biggest thing is Mikel Arteta's panic situations really pisses me off and bothers me because he always gets the situations wrong then. So we actually will see arguably the best 11 we can put out to some extent. Well, actually currently available to us. For me, the biggest thing is the number 10 spot. And no Martin, no Sjogard starting, please. Writes Vanjeri or Zini to complete the midfield. This is the thing. Let me know what you think. Personally, knowing Mikel Arteta, he is as predictable as a house door. He's very pragmatic and he's gonna play it super predictable. Which at the end of the day means Martin Odegaard is going to be as the number 10. I don't want Martinelli at striker and Trossard at left wing. Because 2 reasons. We haven't done it before. Second of all, we need a tall guy up there. Because one of the biggest issues we had at the Emirates was we were crossing the ball to goddamn Trossard. I don't want Martinelli at striker in this game specifically. We need a body up there who can hold up the play, who can fight for the crosses, and who can give some rough time to the center backs. Both of them, to Pacho and to Marquinhos. Physically, more specifically, physically. And I think no matter how you look at it, Merino is the answer in that regard. Because now, Marlon, what you're doing with this specifically, you're overcomplicating things. If we had a certain situation, I could maybe see that, but we haven't seen Martinelli play as a 9 for how long under Mikel Arteta? And Trossard basically is on and off. You never know what kind of Trossard you're gonna get. Against Hakimi's pace, Martinelli is the only option we can use. Hence why Martinelli is on the left and Merino has to be at striker. But he has, whether you like it or not, Merino is the best option we can have to scoring a goal in that game. Because at the Emirates you could see that we missed Merino up top quite massively. In my opinion at least. Hence why. And as you can see, I have quite evidently left the left 10 spot open. Because, as I said, Mikel Arteta is very predictable, very pragmatic. He's going to play it very obvious. Martin Odegaard most likely is going to start in that position. Let's be real, he's also not going to drop his captain and the guy who's leading the line and all that jazz. Now, let's look at it from the other side of the spectrum. Dropping Martin Odegaard. Many people may disagree with this. Many may agree. If we would have dropped our captain, I'll just make Rice the captain, or Saka is the captain. Although I don't want Saka being the captain, it is what it is. But if we drop Martin Odegaard, it would send a message, a shivering message, by the way, throughout the whole team, because everyone would think, "Holy crap! Most important game of the season, arguably of our lives to some extent, and he has dropped our captain. We must step up now," because that would show some spine and balls for Mikel Arteta. As Kenny Ken would say, he would have put his nuts on the table and dropped Martin Odegaard. Pause. And then again is the big question: who would you play in that 10th spot? Obviously, for me there are two options: Zinchenko or Vanjeri. Zinchenko and Vanjeri, both of them naturally are number 10s. Zinchenko in general, he started as a number 10, only Pep made him as an 8/left back, and then basically has stuck it ever since through Pep and Mikel Arteta. And Vanjeri was a number 10 for under 21s. Obviously Mikel Arteta doesn't like the youth, and apparently he doesn't track as much. It is what it is at the end of the day. But one thing I would love to see is that Mikel Arteta throws a curveball in these situations. Because everyone in the world knows what's going to be the starting 11 and how it's going to look and how we might play. Even PSG knows that, Luis Enrique knows that, so there is no excuses, right? But if we drop, for example, Odegaard and put Ranieri there, that would throw a curveball in the works. Because that would throw off balance, in my opinion, not just our attack to some extent, because it would be much different in the attack, but also PSG's defense. Because it would be a different type of defending. Ranieri is more direct, he's more annoying to defend against, and he actually would be shooting more from outside the box, which obviously Martin Odegaard tries to avoid like the plague, as we all know. So I guess it is what it is. That would make us more deadly unpredictable. Exactly. For me, the biggest thing is we need some unpredictability. And unfortunately, we are not going to see it. That for me is the biggest issue. Obviously, for now, for the sake of just being there, I'm going to put Odegaard in there, which is quite annoying, but it is what it is, right? But if Mikel Arteta wants to be unpredictable, he can take Odegaard off at half-time if it doesn't work. Just think about it that way. See what it is. See how it goes. Because the closer the game gets to end, and it's, for example, still 0-0, right? Arteta will be forced to throw the kitchen sink at them. Because he has to win, let's be real. And in that scenario, the obvious options are, of course, Ranieri and Trossard. But how is that going to shape the lineup off? Because then it means he has to drop one of the defenders to basically put someone attacking on. Because he needs a big body, which will be Merino. But he needs someone else up there, up top. Exactly. Ranieri could turn the game around in many aspects of the game. But obviously, we all know that Mikel Arteta has no ball, so he's not going to do it. He will not drop his captain. Other thing is, Martin Odegaard should be stripped of captaincy at the end of the season. Because at the moment, it means nothing. At the end of the season, make a different captain. Give it to Rice, Gabriel, someone. Just don't take it away from Odegaard. Because you don't need to be a captain to lead the press on the pitch. Let's be real. You can give him that task. Everyone will know that task. He's going to lead the press if you want it so badly. But a person who has the ability to oversee the pitch, to call stuff out, to call players out on their mistakes and to make them more calm, I think Declan Rice would be more obvious option in that regard. He could be a natural leader on the pitch. He was the captain as well before that, let's be real. Not for Arsenal, of course, but he was the captain. So I kind of believe that Odegaard also should be stripped of captaincy. Right now, it would be kind of a foolish thing to do, but I think at the end of the season, do it and see what happens afterwards. Because these players, certain players, are way too comfortable in the positions they are, and they are way too comfortable in things they can do. They know they have no competition. They know they can drop a stinker, and then they don't have to bust their hump to do anything at the end of the day. So I think they are way too comfortable in that regard. And of course, giving the Arteta has his own undroppables in terms of Saka, Odegaard, Saliba, Rice, Timber at the moment as well. Basically, how I say it, if they can crawl or walk, they're going to play. We have seen it. Timber through injury, White through injury, Rice with a broken toe, Odegaard through injury, Saka through limping the whole last season pretty much. We have seen it happen before. So he has his undroppables. So that is also a big issue. No player should feel safe in the team. No player should feel safe. They need someone breathing down their necks to know that they need to be on top of the game, every single minute, second, millisecond, every square foot on the pitch, every single game. And that is the biggest issue at Arsenal as well. Having these subpar substitutes, subpar bench, who are on Champions League wages while being mid-table championship level players is kind of embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. To some extent I agree. Maybe, no, I'm gonna say it this way. Odegaard was a good captain until the expectation was not just to challenge, but to win the league, which is last 2 seasons more specifically. Since then, Odegaard should not be in the captain. Because it's quite evident that he cannot do it. The armband is weighing too heavy on him. That Antony goal was insane. Yeah, Antony's goal was phenomenal. I think the last time Arsenal players scored something like that, it was Nicolas Pepe, I think. I think it was Nicolas Pepe who scored something like that. That curl on Juan Garcia had no chance, whatsoever. That was just perfect, perfect goal. But yeah, in terms of that as well, I think that will be it. So now what we're gonna do are the predictions, which for me is the biggest issue of them all. Because for me, predictions at this stage are a bit of a mystery. Because you all know that I give Arsenal about 30 against 70 chance of winning and progressing through, which may seem a bit too low. At the same time, for me it seems fair, given our attack, given our issues in the attack, given our performances in the last weeks, and the way that PSG are up front and they're playing at home. And I think everything's quite solely, I think this tie solely depends on who's gonna score the first goal in Paris. That basically everything is riding upon. Because if, right, by the way, 2-1 Barcelona scored. Because if Arsenal score first, as I said, it is game on and it's gonna go nuts. Then it will go nuts. If PSG score first, we need to score 3 goals to progress through in regular/extra time, or we need 2 just to force extra time. And then again, as I said, if in the beginning of the game it's 30-70 for me, if PSG score first, it's 5% Arsenal chance. It also depends when they score. Because if it's 0-0 and they score in 75th minute, you might as well piece the scene. Let's be real, might as well piece the scene, because Arsenal will push forward, Arteta will throw kitchen sink most likely at everything, and we're gonna get caught out in a counter, and with the attack and pace they have in that counter, we're gonna get turned to shreds. But if they score early, it's about 10% chance then. For Arsenal, it's the biggest yikes of them all, because we cannot afford to concede a goal. That is for me. Call me a top gooner, but I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal and we nab it in extra time to make it 3-2 on aggregate. And I'm not gonna lie, Pepper, you utterly read my mind. Because personally, I believe that there will be something in this game. And I believe that PSG even might score first, but we might claw it back even. Or it's gonna be 2-0 and PSG are gonna nick it, and like 90 plus 5 minutes at the time, we're gonna go to extra time, and Arsenal will then catch them out at some stage. I think the game is gonna end 2-1 or 3-1 in favor of Arsenal, and Arsenal are going to progress through into the finals. I'm not sure how it's gonna happen, but I just have this sneaky feeling it will happen. How is that for you, who wanna call me all the time toxic and negative? Big up Mystical. For me it's 20% chance. Yeah, I totally get that. For me it's 30 at the moment, but everything can change in a split second, let's be real. For me it is hopium speaking. But I cannot help the fact that, dude, it's been 16 years since we've been in the semi-final of Champions League. 16 years. And watching this growing up and everything, you just want it. You want it so badly that it's very hard to go against it. Let's just put it that way. Eric Garcia scoring, I know. But to be honest, if I'm not mistaken, Koundé and Balde are injured. Yeah, see? Koundé and Balde are injured. And Eric Garcia is playing right back, lol. And Martin is playing left back. Koundé and Balde are injured, which hence why they are quite on the fringes in that regard. I think we can beat them, but players need to play their own game and not listen to Arteta and Jover's instructions. They have to play with total freedom. Exactly. They need to play the football they love. Not the basically the robotic football they are made to be played. And that is the biggest thing. We need to play like how we did against Madrid, and Rice should not try to cross the free kicks. 100%. First of all, Rice should be on the free kicks, because Odegaard was on the free kicks in the PSG game at Emirates. The only free kick that Rice took, we scored a goal. Obviously it was offside, but still. Those who call us toxic and negative should go and watch these predictions, but we know they won't. Exactly. They will basically, if they're gonna call me out on something, they're gonna talk about what I talked about 25 minutes ago, where I said Arteta should be gone if we lose the game, right? But they're not gonna clip the fact that I'm predicting a win. That is the biggest thing. I have to back it and believe. Exactly. As much as I want Arteta out, at the end of the day, I am an Arsenal fan, not Arteta fan. I want Champions League. I think we have more chance if PSG score early. A, they will get complacent, and B, it will force us to start playing openly. I think Man City away first half this season. Yeah, that could be the case. That could be the case because PSG won 3-1 at Paris, and they got too complacent at Villa Park as well. And they bopped them up the pitch, barely basically got through. They had poo in their pants. 2-2 Barcelona, by the way. 2-2, Danny almost scored. This game is nuts. I'm gonna end the stream and go watch it instantly. Deal with the recriminations after. Exactly. PSG played an amazing game and still only got the 1-0. It's all to play for. Exactly. We could have lost the game 3-0. We could have won the game 2-1, by the way. It could have gone either way to some extent if we could finish our dinner, if Martinelli could finish his dinner. At the same time, given our issues, we couldn't deal with Bournemouth even. We put our best 11 out. It is quite squeaky bum time at the same time. To some extent, yeah. We need to play attacking football like we did in 22-23 season, and we need to play defense like we did last season. Yeah, this is actually our biggest chance if they think the tie is over. Exactly. That is the hope. That is the hope to some extent. Because if we score first, PSG are gonna be on the edge. There will be waves and waves of the attacks. Notice Nelly was cooking Hakim, and Hakimi could foul him so. Exactly. The only issue is Martinelli has very one type of finish, and unfortunately everyone knows it. And Donnarumma was diving before he even took a shot, hence he saved it. Let's be fair. Chances of keeping clean sheet tomorrow night, yeah, they are extremely low. But imagine if we go to Paris and we win, let's just say 2-0. Or 3-0. Imagine 3-0 we win in Paris. That would be insane. That would make a massive statement for the final, whoever we're going to play, Barcelona or Inter Milan. So we need to score at least 2 goals in 90 minutes. Exactly. We need to score minimum 2 goals in 90 minutes. And then at the end of the day, we either going to draw or we're going to basically win, most likely. That is the biggest thing. Our defense is shaky this year, and it shows everywhere. Basically, yeah. We cannot afford to have these lapses of judgments defensively. We cannot afford to be out of position. We cannot afford to lose focus. And it could be tough. It genuinely could be tough. But yeah, time will tell tomorrow. Obviously, for today, I think I'm gonna head out. So subscribe if you're new around here. Like the stream if you haven't already. I'm gonna be back on Thursday. As you all know, I don't stream on the day Arsenal are playing. If the game is this late, because I cannot manage my time with the family and everything, unfortunately. So time only will tell. I might release a small short on YouTube channel after the game, giving my emotions and my feelings after the game. We'll see. But for today, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna watch Barcelona game. and see who we're gonna play in the finals if we get through, by the way. Don't take this out of context because it's very clippable how I said it with the pause before if. Robo, who you think we're gonna get Barcelona Inter? Who gonna win? Not we're gonna get. Sorry, I'm already speaking as if we're in the final. Well, manifested, I guess. Just for the sheer entertainment and revenge purposes, I want it to be Barcelona. Just for the revenge. For 2006. I want it to be Barcelona. But yeah, for today, I'm heading out. Enjoy your evening. Pray tomorrow. Go to church. Pray for Arsenal and all this stuff. And pray for PSG. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But yeah, I'm heading out. So comment, subscribe, like, and see you all very, very soon.